Hi, this week on Dirt Every Day, I'm gonna take you to see the Jeep that got me into four-wheeling. So hop in the truck, we're gonna go for a little ride. I've been into four-wheeling a lot, pretty much my whole life. I've been into Jeeps and trucks and stuff like that. When I was a kid, my dad bought this. This was a forward-controlled Jeep that he bought from the Pennsylvania Turnpike. It was rusty, but it was cool, and it broke down, and then when I was a kid, I played in it like it was my jungle gym on the farm. Through the years, I had a CJ5, a CJ7, another CJ5, an XJ Cherokee, and a bunch of other cool stuff after that. But that's not the point. The point is today, I want to talk about the Jeep that really kind of got me into four-wheeling. When I was a kid, I was in high school, I was reading all these off-road magazines. We didn't have the internet the way you do today, which is probably good. I would have failed out if I would have had an iPhone and the internet to goof off on all the time. We had magazines like this. This is the September '89 issue of Four Wheeler Magazine. And inside this issue was this ugly Jeep. And it really changed my whole view of 4x4s. Because back in the 80s and 90s, it was kind of this weird, almost gross time for 4x4s and custom cars. There were really bright colors, chrome shocks. It was like the big hair era of off-road trucks. I kind of blame it on Miami Vice when people were wearing white suits with pink shirts, but who knows? It wasn't like the other trucks of the era. It was this truck, this Jeep that was brown, it had big tires, had a cool engine, and it really spoke to me. And today we're gonna go see this truck, because this thing is still around. And you'll get to see it the same way it was when I read about it in the magazine back in 1989. Let's go find Jimmy. This is him back in 1989. You know, kind of long-haired, scraggly looking. Probably looks the same. Come on. Jimmy! Check this thing out. This is Peterbilt that he modified the trailer to haul his Jeep around in. And then it's part Jeep hauler, part motorhome, all Peterbilt. He said one of his first cars was one of these, but then he got into Jeeps. Jimmy! Did you know they were gonna put your Jeep in the magazine when they...
I fought it.
Oh, you didn't want it in there, did you?
Nope.
You didn't want to be...
I fought it.
September '89. I was probably in Spanish class, popping zits off my nose while I was reading this magazine. Let's go look at this Jeep. Awesome. What is that color?
Basic invisible brown. Since it was illegal to leave the pavement, didn't really want to be seen too much.
So he built this thing. Him and his buddies would go and play in the mud. And he wanted a vehicle that he could take and play in the mud, but it had to be brown because it was kind of illegal to go four-wheeling over there at the time, so it had to blend in. I remember him telling me once that it had a chrome spotlight on it that he had mounted on the windshield at the time. And he would go out in the woods and park it and then walk off in the woods about 100 yards and turn around with his flashlight and shine it at the Jeep. Well, the chrome on the spotlight sparkled back. So when he got home that night, he spray painted it brown or black or whatever color so it wouldn't show up. The whole idea was, we wanted something we could drive around in the woods and not really be seen. Not really what we want to tell people to do, but it's what they had to do back then. So in Sweden, when you built this, you had to get it inspected, everything that you'd done to it.
Keep in mind you were allowed a 10% increase in horsepower.
From stock?
From stock.
10%, I don't think that would fly in America, a 10% increase in horsepower.
Well, we have a revolution. And also you were allowed a half-inch increase in track width.
Overall or per side?
No, overall.
So a 1/4 inch wider per side. Some of the cool things about this Jeep are the 35-inch Pitbull tires on lightweight centerline wheels. Both axles are Dana 44s now. They were smaller before, but he's been upgrading a little bit throughout the years. 538 gears and Detroit lockers have always been in this Jeep. The transfer case is a Spicer 18. It has Terra low-range gears, and it also has a Saturn overdrive. And in front of that, a 3-speed T90 transmission with low-range gears in that as well. So he has plenty of low range that he can creep and crawl over stuff. But then, of course, under the hood is the torquey Range Rover 215 aluminum V8 engine. It's not really big, but it's perfect for in a small Jeep like this. It's lightweight, it has good torque, and with that Holley carb, he seems to be able to drive this thing upside down and it'll keep running. The body has been through a lot. It's got some patches, some welds, it's been twisted and beat up. It's got paint that he's not really worried about, but it has a lot of character. Patina, as they say these days. It's got a worn 8274 winch up front. I mean, what more could you ever want if you're stuck? Notice stuff like this, little things, like this grill guard that's inside here. It keeps sticks and stuff from bashing into the radiator. So underneath the Jeep, it's got something that nowadays isn't that crazy. It's a leaf spring over the axle. But back when he built this, that was pretty new and different. It's got some narrow Rancho leaf packs, full traction shocks. The steering is tucked up really high. It works really good off-road so that it can flex, but it doesn't have anything down here to get hung up on. When he first built it, he was mud bogging a lot in Sweden. So this was good. It was important to keep everything tucked up so you didn't get caught on logs and sticks. This Jeep was so different when I saw it in the magazine back in the late 80s. It wasn't flashy. There wasn't all this chrome and shiny stuff. It was kind of a beat up Jeep that actually went out wheeling. There were plenty of Jeeps like that on the trail. It's just that the magazines weren't talking about it yet. And it really opened my eyes to what a different type of four-wheeling vehicle you could build. Let's take it out and see what it'll do. How cool is that? A beat up old Jeep, big tires, and a healthy V8. That's exactly what I wanted as a kid in high school. I bet there's some kids out there watching this video that are building something like this. You have a small garage, you're working on a small budget, but you want to build something you can go play with off-road? Let us know. Leave a comment below, and maybe we'll come to your town and go four-wheeling. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Dirt Every Day. Oh, I just broke something else. Here you go. Here's your spit cup. Jimmy's never gonna invite us back. He didn't invite us this time though, so I guess it doesn't really matter.